welcome back to Pima Voices. My name is Savannah, and I'll be your host. Today, I'm sitting down with Theresa Riel, who is a member of the Pima Community College Governing Board representing District 2. And today, we're going to be talking about the importance of connecting with our community. How are you today, Theresa?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Thank you for coming in today and sitting down with me. You have a lovely, lifelong connection, I feel like, to Pima. And you're doing such great work, within our community and such advocacy for the college. And so I was like, what perfect person would come in? And it was you. So, and I see you at our events all the time and everything else. So we appreciate your support on top of that. And so for people who might not know who Theresa is, who is Theresa?
I am a former math faculty from the East Campus. I taught math at the East Campus for 23 and a half years. That was the greatest job ever. I retired in 2019. And then in 2022, PCCEA, Michaela Hayes, and some other people from the Education Association asked me if I'd run for the governing board. And so that was in 2022. I started my 6-year term in January of 2023, and it's just been a fabulous ride since.
Wow. When I learned you taught math for that many years, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know. But it was probably because it was on East Campus, which is a campus that I don't necessarily go to all the time. But math also isn't my strongest subject. But I love how you're still connected to Pima in such a wonderful way. And like I said, you're always just been such a great supporter. And then for you advocating for such great things to happen within the college and having that voice, and the fact that the community entrusts you to have that voice and that vision as well must be a really great feeling to have, to know that, someone who was an educator and can now continue to kind of advocate for the college in such a great way must be very meaningful to you as well.
Thank you. It is. I'm very honored to have this position. And one of the best things about it is when I am out on the different campuses and in the community, and I see the amazing things that Pima College is doing for the community, for our students. It's just, I feel like a proud mother so often. And I mean, it's sometimes it even brings tears to my eyes. I'm a softie.
I know, me too.
So yeah, it is an amazing place.
It totally is. And it's interesting how I talk about this a lot, about how someone has come to the college, whether they're an educator or student or something, they always still find a way to come back. We always find a way to come back. I was a student, then I worked at the college, and now I'm at the foundation, working with the foundation. And I'm like, it's just this crazy community of where we always find a way to come back because we just love it so much. And so many great things are happening. I'm always like, I need to come back to school again because there's so much cool things going on. And, people are recognizing that not just in Tucson, but outside of Tucson. And that's even more great to show that the college is standing out in such an amazing way of innovation and technology, that it's seeking the eyes of Harvard and people outside of that as well. And there's just so much greatness happening, right? And then you can be part of that voice and that vision. So
right. I advocate for the college in so many different ways. I have always taken classes here, and currently I'm taking guitar.
Oh,
and
no way.
It's at this class is at the downtown campus, but 2 semesters ago it was at the West Campus. And Dr. Lerman, Stephen Lerman, he's one of the most amazing instructors I've ever had the opportunity to attend a class with. And the thing that is amazing is that besides learning guitar, I'm also learning all sorts of amazing things about teaching, the way he teaches and the way he instructs. And I know that so many of our faculty, so many of the people who teach classes and who bring this knowledge and this education to the students in Pima County, we're all just getting better and smarter. And I just love that idea about the college helping people out that way.
I know. I just want to take classes all the time. And I'm just I just want to be in there. But there's so many times where I've had an instructor where I'm like, that instructor just did so much for me. And I think that's really important about education, is having those instructors who are willing to go beyond almost in a way to kind of make sure that their students succeed. And I feel like almost every single instructor or faculty member I've talked to, they always are just so sincere about their students and what they do. And I think that's one of the greatest things about the college in general is like no matter what campus you go to, those faculty and instructors, like they all care so much and so deeply. And like, we've had people come on and talk about, oh, I went to the U of A and then I came here, and they're like, the experience was so different. But it was such a lovely experience because they were able to get more hands-on learning. They had a teacher who was willing to have that time commitment to see them, to spend time with them. And that's, I think, is one of the most beautiful things that the college can offer, that they believe in fostering that success for their students, right? And I'm sure you had the same motivation with your students in your classroom.
Right. I taught, originally, I taught a lot of the developmental education in math education classes. And I realized that students were struggling at that level because we're adults, they're adults, but they're working on things that oftentimes students learn in lots lower grades, 5th, 6th, 7th grade. And so I decided that I wasn't going to teach it using the same algorithms and the same methods that we taught it, that they had learned it before. So students would come into this class and they were learning basic college math, basic math, right? And they would complain initially. They'd say, why are you making us learn this? We already know how to do this math. And I said, well, my assumption is that you might not know how to do this math well because you tested into this level. Put your energy and effort, learn these new methods I'm trying to teach you, and then, you can, who knows where you'll go from here. And so many times teaching that class, it was hard because they didn't want to learn that new algorithm for doing long division, for example. But I would basically force them to do it this new way. And then all of a sudden, later on, we'd be doing fractions or something, and you could see this light bulb go, and they're like, now I understand why we need to have least common denominators or something like that. And it was just so... it was so reassuring to me knowing that this is going to help them. And then so many of those students, they went on in math and, they would come back and they'd say that was the first A I ever got. And then they ended up becoming, phlebotomist or, radiology technicians, engineers. They went far with the math and they never thought they could do it. It's just that they had never been taught the way their brain worked.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I think
that's important.
And I think a lot of teachers at the college in all the different disciplines do that. They make sure it makes sense to the learner from the learner's perspective.
And I think that's super important to understand, like, not every student learns the same, right? And so when you have like these class sizes that are a little bit smaller, you can understand like, oh yeah, these students aren't quite grasping it this way. I need to address. And I've been in classrooms in that situation at Pima where it's like, oh yeah, like this teacher's teaching it very differently. Like I would have never thought of that, but it makes sense. And so they're understanding what their students need rather than what is being told, I guess, of them to be taught, but they're understanding, no, it needs to be done this way. Like I'll meet that standard, but I need to know what the student is and how they're trying to learn. And so incorporating that is super important. And then you had the light bulb moment of, oh, it all makes sense now.
Right.
And so being someone who's been an educator, how do you think that has helped shape your perspective serving on the governing board?
I think it's a pro and a con both because I have the burden of having prior knowledge about how things are done at the college and what the nomenclature means and all of that. So sometimes I feel like I know it at a different level because I've lived that experience for 23 years. So it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. Yeah. I do love advocating for teaching and learning. That's my number one priority, as it is with all of the governing board members. They believe in this institution is the backbone of Pima County. I just want to mention one thing. When I was a student, I went to the U of A directly, and tuition at that point was $500 a semester. And minimum wage, I think it was something like $3.35 an hour. So someone in my position, I could have worked 9 to 10 hours a week, and I could have paid for my own tuition. Now, tuition at the U of A is a lot more, although so is minimum wage. But in order, doing the same ratios, the same ratios, one would have to work close to 30 hours a week to pay for their own tuition. So, it was an advantage for me as a young person because I could go to school full time and work just a little bit to pay for my tuition. Now students who are going to the U of A or any school that charges that kind of tuition, they have to work quite a bit more, almost full time, 30 hours a week to pay for it. So I think that's one big, huge plus of Pima Community College is our tuition is reasonable. We haven't raised tuition, I think, for the last 2 years now. And I think that it's an affordable thing that young people, or anybody actually who wants to improve their knowledge base, they can take college classes. And so I guess my point there is not only do we have great teachers and great staff and great administration at this college, but our tuition is also really, really reasonable. So people can come to Pima College affordably and get that first 2 years of their associate's degree. Actually, we're having a new bachelor's of arts programs in education now. So you could actually get a full 4-year degree here, but you can also get amazing certificates and credentials and degrees that can put you directly into the workforce. And that's the amazing thing about this place.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a student at Pima. I've been a student at the U of A. I just finished this last May.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And it was a lot easier to pay for classes at Pima than it was at the U of A. That was a struggle. Full-time student, full-time employee. And so, yeah, I know people who've taken out student loans to pay for that stuff. And I had a lot easier. I could work less and still pay for a class at Pima. Not the same thing for the U of A. Mind you, it's a whole different experience. But and then that is a really great thing about just coming to the community as well. It's accessible to many different members of our community, right? Which ties in that whole thing about Pima Community College, which is something that the chancellor always says is like, I want to bring that word community back to the college. Not that it hasn't been there, but like that's what the community college is, right? It is our community. And so then you mentioned, we saw news recently about a bachelor's program that could be available in fall of 2026. That's huge news for the college, right? That's something that can even reach more people, give people more options, open more doorways, more pathways, which I think is the direction that the college is continuing to go, which just shows that its excellence in wanting to just strive for that student success. And so what do you think are some of your priorities or goals that you have within that you want to kind of succeed within your 6-year term with the governing board?
Thank you. I've mentioned it numerous times in board meetings, so I'm sure that this is just repetition. But I recognize that the employees at Pima Community College are top notch. They're amazing people. They're amazing at what they do. They're amazing at the results that they produce. But we don't have a very good system of evaluating that. And so I've spoken with the chancellor and the governing board on many occasions, and I'm really just pushing for 360-degree evaluations. That means that it's not a punitive type activity or the objective, right? The objective is to know how the people above us feel they work with us and how the people that we're overseeing feel that the communication, the efforts, the energy, the work. And, I always took faculty always have had 360 evaluations. Our administrators evaluated us, and then so did the students. And there were some really rough student evaluations. She is the worst teacher I've ever had, hated her, whatever. And those hurt. But what I realized as an adult, right, as a resilient person, is that I need to understand, what was it that was bothering that student, and then change those kind of things. I can't change me, how I look or my smile or whatever, but I could change, how I speak and the things that we talk about in class. If it's, offensive, or if they don't like how I use real world examples, I can tone down my real world examples. And so we learn from the people that are critical of us, and then we can get better that way. Also, you hear repeatedly, many students will say the same positive thing about what you're doing in the classroom, and you know that that's something that you want to keep doing and maybe even improve upon. So when I talk about evaluations, I'm not using it as a punitive, a way to reprimand people or a way to make people feel bad. I'm using it as a way to lift all of us up to become better at what we do. But we don't have anything like that right now, and without that, we just don't know.
I mean, that's part of being a human, an adult in general, right, is learning and growing. That's always something that we should always be doing, is learning and growing and understanding our mistakes. How can we do better and all of that? And so I appreciate you having that sort of vision and wanting to implement that, because that is really important, as just, like I said, as humans in general, not just in the classroom, but in life, to always continuously be evaluating and be growing and showing that progress, I guess you would say.
Right. Because without that personal growth, we're just doing the same thing that we've always done. And if the same thing that we've always done isn't getting the results we want to get, and there's numerous examples, we don't need to talk about those today, but there's numerous examples of we're doing it the same way that we've done it for 20 or 30 years, and we're getting the same results. Maybe we need to implement some change and some growth. Yeah, definitely.
Well, I know you have lots of great ideas and great vision. And as someone who's been such advocate for the college, I'm sure you're going to do wonderful things within your 6-year term. And so before we end, I do want to mention too, there's something that I learned about you, is that your grandfather started a fund with us to give scholarships to students. So you have a little legacy, not just at the college, but with the foundation as well. And I thought that was so beautiful and so wonderful.
Yeah, I was going to look up the date. I think it was like 96 or 97. But somewhere between there and 2003, my granddad donated a lot of money and started a scholarship. And how he worded it is he wanted it to be for single moms who were first in their family to attend college. And he wanted it to cover everything for them. So that's evolved a little bit. He passed away in 2003, so he hasn't been with us for a long time. But both my grandparents really, really believed in education, and they thought that education is the only way to have upward mobility, to improve yourself, and then therefore improve the chances of the other people in your family to have better access to education and more opportunity. So I think that the foundation is amazing. And back to when I was talking about the cost of education, one reason that these scholarships and being involved in the foundation for all of us is so important is that we may lose students, amazing students, because they can't afford this opportunity to grow themselves and make themselves better. When my mother's husband, this is sort of an aside, but in 2013, my mom's husband passed away, and I went and visited with her at TMC. And almost every single day, somebody would come up to me and say, "Hey, Miss Riel, I'm sure you don't remember me, but I was in your math class, and I just want to let you know, thank you for everything that you did." And I don't think they just meant me. I think they meant Pima College as a whole. And then here they were doing all of these amazing things in the healthcare profession. And I realized two things at that point. That one, I needed to be a lot nicer to my students because they were going to be taking care of my health at some point. And two, what a valuable opportunity that we have at the college to help these people become their full potential in healthcare, in automation, in avionics, whatever, all of these different opportunities for people to get better. So back to your question about the scholarships, without the foundation doing those scholarships, I bet you a lot of those people wouldn't have made it through their college career. And I just think, for one time, Marcy Euler had mentioned that, we have a lot of employees that donate $5 or $10 every paycheck. It's sort of harmless and painless, right? They might not even recognize that it's happening until they get their final statement. But if you do that, if you donate $10, that's $260, and that's a quarter of $1,000 scholarship, right?
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize those small incrementals really add up.
Yeah. And so I think that we always need to promote the foundation for doing the good work you all do. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
For our students and for programs. I know it's not just scholarships that you do. It's a lot of amazing things. So thank you for helping, the arts and fine arts, the sports programs, all of those amazing things.
Thank you. Well, it's people like you who have such support and belief in us that we can do what we do. And, sometimes we're in the office and it's like, oh, we're in the office. But then we remember like, oh, yeah, we just distributed over $700,000 worth of scholarships. Like, that's so huge. And that number keeps growing because we have people like you and people in our community who believe in the college and believe in our mission and our values and what we can do. And like you said, it's not just scholarships, it's program funds as well. It's to help keep all the wheels sort of turning and running. And yeah, sometimes a scholarship will make or break someone coming here. And giving them that opportunity of education, which to me, education is so important. It should be a right to every single human individual who wants to continue their education or start it. And I fully believe it should be something that's easily accessible to every single individual because it is so important.
I read a really interesting quote. I can't remember who said it, so my apologies, but it was something about education is so important, and the examples are in the negative, right? If your doctor doesn't know how to do the procedure, if your car mechanic doesn't know how to do the, mechanics, and what we're teaching at Pima College is how to do those things correctly. And it doesn't only affect the person who's receiving the education, it affects all of us in goods and services in the community. And Pima Community College is an amazing place. It's the gem. I always look at that little
the
decal.
6 Ps. Yep.
Yeah. I never knew that.
Yeah, there's 6 Ps. There's a little history. It's to represent each campus on Pima. So yeah.
To me, it looks like a gem.
It is. That too.
And Pima is the gem of the county. So
and it's grown so much too. There's so much that has happened to really kind of give those pathways and those doors to so many different people who come to the college. And I'm really excited to see what else is to come. And so it just keeps growing to such greatness. And I'm like, God, it's just so cool now. It wasn't like it was not cool before, but the way that it's growing and innovating is always just mind blowing to me.
And I just want to say one more thing. Within the last 2 years since I've been on the governing board, I've been to many performances here at this campus. Anyway, this one of the many performances I saw was the play Proof. And I had seen Proof here in town 20 years ago. And I think that our students did an exceptional job of that play.
Yeah, I hear the theater department always puts on great productions.
Right.
I haven't been, and I'm like, I need to go.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about being a gem, right? It's not just a place you can get an education, but I encourage all of the people my age, I'm retired, and so I say, come to Pima College and watch a show. It's amazing.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities the community can invest, whether it's coming to an exhibition, coming to a show, taking a class, everything else. There's so many ways to show your support. So, and before we end our conversation, was there anything else that you wanted to add to the community or to our listeners or anything at all? We've said a lot today, so I don't know.
The semester's starting, so I just want to wish...
This is a back-to-school episode, so
right, wish all students a great semester, and I hope that if you're loving your classes, share it with your friends and family to encourage more people to reach their full potential. Knowledge is an amazing thing. It can never be taken away. And if you're struggling, talk to one of our amazing counselors or advisors, go to the tutoring centers, get some assistance on the content so you can be what you want to be when you're done with your college education.
Yes, well, you said it well. And I wish the whole foundation office says, we wish everyone a wonderful semester, whether you're a student, a new student, a returning student, a faculty member. instructor. Like, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a really great semester and hopefully a great academic year as a whole. So thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Savannah.
You always have such wonderful things to say. And like I said, thank you for coming to events and things like that and showing your support for not just the foundation, but for the college. And it's always lovely to see you. And so I'm sure I'm going to see you at an event or somewhere on campus at some point. So I know this isn't goodbye. So I will see you soon, I will say. So
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for tuning in to today's episode. And I will see y'all next time. Thank you.